government, the municipality? Is it the provincial government, or is it national government when it comes to dealing with some of these issues? Is it clear-cut, or are there a lot of grey areas which causes these tensions?
Yeah, good afternoon, Peter. I think it's almost a misrepresentation and a deliberate misrepresentation, in fact, of the facts. Because, look, whose competency is it to provide housing, right? It's national. And the provincial and local can contribute to that extent. And I think when President Mbeki said, I'm providing resources as head of state as it is within my competence to do so, right? Let's start with urban Alexandra renewal. Somewhere we dropped the ball. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. Rather than to play that game, right, why don't the three tiers of government come together and see how best they can address this? It's unfortunate that then the president would say, Mashaba must deal with it, when he knows that alone he cannot do it. Is the competence of national. But as an elder in this space, he should find a way to be conciliatory and to send a message that doesn't polarize and aggravate the situation on the ground. And I think the organizer sounded to me, more measured and considerate, that the more the merrier. If the three are together, we might find a way out.
So then what happens when things like illegal structures are built? They are breaking municipal bylaws, I would imagine, and that's where the local government steps in to remove illegal structures.
Yes. You see, again, if you don't uphold the bylaws, the people on the ground, those who have property, those who have been on the queue for a long time are going to complain. I'm averse to this idea of blaming one another when we should be seeking a solution. Yes, indeed, is a campaigning season, and political parties will try to take advantage of each other or one another. But the bottom line is, if Mashaba and them, they didn't ensure that the bylaws are adhered to, they would be blamed by provincial, by national, and even by the people on the ground. But my people also must take responsibility. Alexandra is more deserving of improvement. That I concede. It really does. It's calling for help. But the people also must try to defend and to protect their own property. Because when you destroy and vandalize, then you are taking the government backward. Because rather than to move forward, the money that comes in are going to correct and at least have very little impact as they try to move you forward with other aspects. So we must take responsibility also as residents.
And I suppose that for as long as one party controlled national, provincial and local government, some of these issues were quite easy to manage and deal with. But now, and maybe even after the next elections, we may see a little bit more of the splits in those three tiers. How do these government spheres work together? Because at the end of the day, it's the citizens on the ground that are looking to all these tiers of government for some leadership and for some relief.
You see, unfortunately, in Spain, especially on the African continent, rather than to serve the people, we serve our own interests and party political interests. This would not happen in other spaces, either in Botswana or at least in Mauritius. But those who have the purse, they try to strangulate members of the opposition who are presiding in spaces that they think they ought to. I know of municipalities that were deliberately made dysfunctional, and in turn, the people were being punished for not voting the ruling party, but the other party. And I think it needs a more mature and leadership that understand that it is about the people and not about party political interests.
So if they do gather tomorrow and the various parties do get together, what should they be saying? What can they do?
No, it is doable. It's very much doable. I mean, all is to first be honest with the people. Honesty, it will take you a long way. Don't lie to them. Don't just be doctor or otherwise. Just to say, we had this program, right, under President Mbeki, and we lost the ball at one stage, but in the past 3 years, we have begun to implement that. And it will take time, but surely there is movement, as the organizers mentioned there. But also invite the people to be responsible and protect what the state is building for them. And one thing that I think needs to be said, for as long as we don't control the borders of South Africa, and migration is open for all, then you are bound to have these challenges, because then people would say, I've been in the queue for far too long, and then now I'm backward, and there is a piece of land and it is taken, and the argument often is a sizable chunk of those who are taking that land, they don't belong there. But equally, I'm saying the people who have the houses, perhaps try to stay in those houses, because when you let them, when you sell them to other people, you are fanning the flames of discontent.
All right, okay, Prof, we're going to have to leave it there, but thanks very much indeed for giving us some insights on these 3 tiers of government, local government, provincial government and national, and now really they should be working together to serve the public at large. Thanks so much indeed for joining us.